Hey, this is Laura with Lonely Pines Farm, and today we are making honey fermented garlic. Yum, right? This recipe is so easy to make, it's delicious, there's so many health benefits, and we're gonna go through it together today. Now, honey fermented garlic is exactly what it sounds like. It is garlic that has been fermented in honey. Any kind of garlic will work. Us being garlic farmers, we have access to a lot of different varieties. This is some Romanian red right here, but honestly, any kind of garlic will do. Next, you'll need honey. It's just 2 ingredients to make, but you do have to make sure that it is raw, unfiltered honey, the real honey. The stuff in the little bear, that won't work. We don't have to go into it, but a lot of honey that is sold in markets isn't really 100% honey. They add in other sweeteners. It's a whole thing. But raw, unfiltered honey and garlic are the 2 ingredients that you need to be able to make this recipe. Next, let's talk about some of the health benefits. So garlic itself has a ton of health benefits. Honey itself has a bunch of benefits. And then eating fermented food is so good for you. So you combine the 3 together, and this is really kind of a powerhouse of good stuff going on. Specifically, some of the benefits are that it aids in digestion, it'll help your immune system and help you fight off like colds and the flu, it supports like good blood pressure and cholesterol levels. There's all sorts of good stuff. You really can't go wrong. So you may be thinking to yourself, is this easy to do? Is this something good for beginners? Is there any sort of risk? People get concerned with, canning and botulism and fermented foods, and a little bit scary. I totally understand. But there's no risk of botulism with this recipe. A lot of people hear things about storing garlic and it triggers something in their mind because garlic and oil, yes, very high risk of botulism. Garlic and honey, together they actually create an environment that is inhospitable to botulism. So it's totally safe for beginners. Now let's get into the uses because there are a ton. You can eat both the garlic and the honey. The flavor is a little difficult to describe because it is the 2 of them combined, but they're both kind of mild and they meld, and it's this sweet garlic, just mwah, delicious. You can drizzle it over pizza, vegetables, chicken. You can use it as a sweetener for like a dressing or a vinaigrette, a base for a marinade. I've added them in dips before, and I also add it into my tea whenever I feel like I'm getting sick. But I feel like the most common way that people enjoy this is just straight out of the jar. You just grab a spoon with garlic and a little bit of honey combined, and you can just eat it straight. It's delicious. I suppose it's a bit of an acquired taste, but we love it. All right, let's get into making it because it is so easy. Again, you just need your honey and your garlic first, and your jar, I suppose. You need something to put it in. We have found that the wide mouth jars work best. They seem to leak the least. We did a batch a couple weeks ago, started it in a tall jar, and sure enough, it's been leaking all over the place. So recommend a wide mouth jar. You can go as big as you want, but you do have to peel all of the garlic that goes in the jar, and that can take a little while. We love this. It's a little dirty because I literally just used it. This handy dandy garlic peeler. It's a silicone, and it makes the job so much easier. That will be linked in the description down below. Once your garlic is peeled, then you'll want to cut off the little nubbin end there because honestly, nobody wants to eat that. And it also gives the honey kind of a super highway to be able to get into the garlic and gets things going a little bit more quickly. Once your jar is full, you'll want to add in your honey. You can pour, but the honey moves slow and it does need to burp. So we found that it's best to get a giant spoon and kind of do spoonfuls and drizzle it and let it breathe and let the honey leak down until your jar is full. And do leave a little bit of space at the top because there will be that fermenting and bubbling going on. So this is the jar that we put together today. This is the jar that's from a couple weeks ago we started it, and you can see there it is all super duper bubbly. This is in the really active stage. So for the first 2 to 3 weeks after you combine it all together, it's going to be really actively fermenting. And you're going to want to burp the jar once a day to let out all of those gases. And then when we burp the jar, we also flip it upside down to make sure that all the garlic is submerged because it kind of floats, which makes it a little bit tricky to keep it in there. But once the roughly 2 to 3 weeks are up, you'll see a huge dip in activity. And at that point, you no longer need to burp it every day, assuming you're getting into it every once in a while. And then you can store it in a cool, dark place. It does not need to be refrigerated. It is completely shelf stable. We keep ours in the pantry right behind us here. And it will last for up to a year, potentially even more. I'm not going to stand by longer than a year, but we have heard of folks that have the same honey and they've been continually adding more and more garlic to it for years. Long term, don't be alarmed if at any point your garlic starts to look a little bluish or a little greenish. That's just part of the natural reaction. It does happen, and they're still totally safe to eat. You will also see a darkening of the honey, and it thins out quite a bit. Let me show you the jar. This is the last one that we have from our batch that we made last January. You can see it is very runny, very dark. The garlic gets kind of translucent. And I suppose after all of this, it would be only fair to do a taste test. So here's a spoon out of the garlic. Try not to drip here. Woof! I got a little bit of garlic and a little bit of honey. Oh. So good. The garlic's not tangy anymore. It's really sweet, but there's still kind of that underlying garlic note. And the sweet's not like in your face sweet. It's just, it's hard to describe. We really hope you'll make it. Enjoy it every day for maximum health benefits. And stay tuned for more garlic recipes.